Fuzzy Mud, Chapter 27, Wednesday, November 3, 2:41 p.m. Marshall banged a stick against one tree, then another, as he wandered aimlessly through the woods. He broke the stick in half and flung the halves in opposite directions. He didn't know why he did that. He didn't know why he did anything anymore. He didn't know why he hadn't told Mrs. Thaxton the truth. He didn't know why he'd snuck out of school. He didn't know why he'd returned to the woods. It certainly wasn't to look for Tamaya. If she wanted to go searching for Chad, that was her problem. Mostly, he had just needed to get away from Mrs. Thaxton, away from his teachers, away from everybody. If he could have gotten away from himself, he would have done that too. Nothing made sense anymore. Tamaya should have been glad that Chad wasn't in school, and Mrs. Thaxton acted like Chad was some kind of star pupil. Did anyone see Chad yesterday? Did you talk to him? What did he say? Where was he going? He was going to beat me up, Marshall thought, kicking leaves. That's where he was going. What was he supposed to do, meet Chad on Richmond Road so he could get the snot beat out of him? Would that have made everybody happy? He kicked a rock, then walked quickly after it, picked it up and threw it as far as he could. Chad's been picking on Marshall all year, Andy had said, for no reason. They all knew, Andy, Laura, Cody, everybody. So why didn't anyone do anything? Why hadn't they stuck up for him? Why had they let Chad make his life so miserable day after day after day? But that wasn't the real question, and he knew it. The real question was this: why hadn't he stuck up for himself? And he knew the answer to that too, because he was a coward, like Chad had said, a thumb-sucking coward. If Laura thought Chad was mean, then what did she think of Marshall? Nothing. He was just a bug that Chad stepped on. He thought about the way Tamaya used to look up to him like he was her hero, some hero. When it came down to it, she was the one who had protected him. She had smashed the mud into Chad's face. And now she was out searching for Chad because he had been too scared to tell Mrs. Thaxton the truth. He wondered if Tamaya could possibly be right about the mud. It didn't seem possible. Somebody would have put up a warning sign or something. She had probably just touched some weird kind of poison ivy. He stopped. Just ahead, some kind of animal was crouched atop a dead tree trunk, ready to pounce. Keeping his eye on it, he slowly bent down and picked up a rock. The sun shining through the treetops caused a crisscross of shadows and light over the creature, making it difficult to tell exactly what it was. Possibly a raccoon, or maybe a badger, he thought. Although he wasn't sure he knew exactly what a badger would look like. It appeared to be snarling. Whatever it was, since it was out during the day, it might be rabid. He rolled the rock over in his hands. "Hey!" he shouted at it. It didn't move. He threw the rock toward it, hoping to scare it away. The rock bounced off the tree trunk and the animal still didn't move. Marshall picked up another rock and took a few steps closer. "Go away!" he shouted, then took a few more steps. Maybe it wasn't snarling. He boldly took another step. Maybe it wasn't alive. He moved closer. Maybe it wasn't an animal at all, but just somebody's mud-soaked sweater. He almost laughed. Now I'm even afraid of sweaters. Beneath the mud, he could see the maroon color and the partially obscured words, virtue and valor. He realized whose sweater it was. On the other side of the tree trunk was a large puddle of dark mud covered in a fuzzy scum. He saw a mud-covered sneaker and a rolled-up white sock, also splattered with the mud. The sock did it. Something wrenched inside of him. All his feelings of shame, self-pity, and self-hatred vanished. He was no longer thinking about himself at all. "This is really bad," he said aloud.